First item of business is the approval of the agenda. Anybody have any recommended changes, or is it okay as is? Is there a motion to approve the agenda as is?
I'll move for approval.
Second it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is the mayor's report. I guess the first thing we're doing is a proclamation for the National League of Cities Small Cities Week. I'll read this. Whereas small cities and towns under 50,000 population are the home to millions of Americans and constitute the vast majority of municipalities across the United States, and whereas small cities and towns strive to strengthen their communities through the provision of services and programs to improve the quality of life for all citizens, and whereas the federal government is an essential partner in the success of small cities and towns and must be encouraged to continue support programs and legislation that strengthen small communities, and whereas state governments are partners in the success of small cities and towns and must be encouraged to continue to support key programs and legislation that strengthen communities, and whereas organizations, businesses, and citizens are partners in the success of small cities and towns and must be encouraged to continue to grow their efforts to make small communities a viable choice for people to live in, and whereas during these challenging economic times, the need for a renewed intergovernmental partnership to support essential public services is more than ever to ensure the safety and growth of small town America. And whereas the National League of Cities President and the Small Cities Council of the National League of Cities have declared June 19th through the 25th, 2011 as Small Cities Week, now therefore the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the Town of Farragut does hereby proclaim June 19th to the 25th, 2011 as Small Cities Week and encourages President Obama, Congress, state governments, organizations, businesses, and all citizens to recognize this event and to work together on this day and throughout the year to invest in small cities and towns to better the lives of all citizens. And I move approval.
Second it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now, we've made appointments to committees tonight. It's also the mayor's job to appoint commissioners to the Planning Commission, and we have a few people whose terms are due for reappointment or whatever. And I'm going to mix up things a little bit tonight by announcing the appointment of two new members. One is Betty Dick, back there in the back. One of the former aldermen served several years as alderman, and she happened to have a role in writing a lot of the ordinances that we're now trying to reconcile with today's reality. So she'll be an asset as we deal with some of the ordinances that basically have still some goofy items in them. So we'll be, from time to time, adjusting our ordinances to suit today's case. I'm also appointing Noah Myers, who has been on the Visual Resources Review Board and is a businessman in the community, and I think we need more of a business flavor on the Planning Commission rather than a bunch of homeowners, as has been the case for some time now. So those would be new. I'm reappointing Ron Rochelle, Melissa Mustard, and Ed Whiting. And the others' terms are still in effect, so they'll still be here. And with that, it's time for the Citizens Forum. This is a time when you can come and speak from the podium and voice your opinion on anything on the agenda or anything else if you wish. It's a good question. When do we take up the board appointment to the...
You can do it now.
Okay, in that case, it's required by the Planning Commission that one member of the aldermen serve also as a planning commissioner, and I'm recommending that as a board we approve Ron Honkin for that for the next 2 years for that position, and I so move. And we have to vote on it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Approval of minutes from January the 9th, 2011. Everybody have your copy. You've read it. Any changes you need?
There's one change to the minutes on page 3. It's under the mayor's report in the second paragraph. It's talking, as Alderman LaMarche reported that she had attended the Small Cities Human Development. That should read National League of Cities Human Development meeting.
Yeah, okay. Any others? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Next item is resolution and ordinances. We'll take up resolution 2011-06 fee schedule first.
I'll just read the resolution for you. So whereas the Board of Mayor and Aldermen desires to establish a general fee schedule for fiscal year 2012, setting the necessary fees for all town services and collection of town accounts and expenditures, including but not limited to application, filing, license, and permit fees, and whereas it is the desire of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to consolidate all the fees located in the Municipal Code of Ordinances and adopt them alternatively by resolution. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town of Farragut Board of Mayor and Aldermen that all fees are hereby adopted as listed in the attached schedule. And I have updated this schedule for you guys. I left out two sheets, but it's the same schedule that we had in the workshop a few weeks ago, excluding the notary fees. And staff recommends approval of resolution 2011-06 fee schedule.
Is there a motion?
Allison, what was the difference between the one you gave us tonight and the one in our packet?
The first page is it says 2012 fee schedule, and then on the back side we left off the community development and the page that starts the resubmittal plans.
I see. Thank you.
It had copied double-sided, and
Okay.
yeah.
I'll move for approval. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item is ordinance 11-04, ordinance to rezone a portion of parcel 5906, tax map 152, located on the north side of Turkey Creek Road, across from Anchor Park, 3.55 acres from R1 rural single-family residential district to R4 attached single-family residential district, Smith Farm Residential Partners applicant. This is second reading, so we've already passed this one time.
This property is located directly across the road from Anchor Park, and it is being incorporated into a larger tract that is currently zoned R4. Several years ago, the applicant submitted a preliminary plat, and because of the width of the property, the road was only a single-sided road. They have since acquired the area that is before you this evening for rezoning, And now the road going into the development will be double loaded, meaning there'll be condos on both sides of the road. Per the R4 district, it is to be located on land that is on a street that meets the minimum development requirements of the subdivision regulations, that's not interior to a subdivision, that it be free of from severe environmental limitations. This property slopes up to the north, but it has excellent access and it is near the park. The Planning Commission recommended approval of Ordinance 1104, and staff also recommends approval of Ordinance 1104.
Any discussion? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve?
I'll second it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item is Ordinance 11-05, ordinance to amend the Farragut Municipal Code, Title 9, Chapter 4, Sign Ordinance, Section 9-404, definitions, to change the definition of abandoned sign by increasing the time from 30 days to 90 days. Jeffrey Fields, applicant.
This application went through the Visual Resources Review Board first, and they discussed this extensively. And the initial request was to not require box signs to be removed when the premises was vacated. And the Visual Resources Review Board felt that that was discriminating one type of sign against another sign, and that it also eroded the cornerstone of our ordinance. Our ordinance has been extremely successful in getting non-compliant signs removed, and that it was best not to keep abandoned signs up because it kind of gave the impression of blight. People would go to a business and it's no longer there. It isn't good for centers. And so after extensive discussion and with agreement with Mr. Fields, the VRB decided that it was best to meet his needs by modifying the definition of abandoned sign by increasing it from 30 days to 90 days. The Planning Commission concurred with the Visual Resources Review Board recommendation, and the Planning Commission recommended approval of Ordinance 1105, and staff also recommends approval of this ordinance.
Discussion. We've passed this before, right? This is second reading?
Yes, this is second reading.
I'll make a motion to approve Ordinance 1105.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item is Ordinance 11-07. This is also second reading, fiscal year 2012 budget.
Thank you, Mayor. When we talked 2 weeks ago at first reading, we went through the expenditures, the revenues, talked a lot about different aspects of our budget and where we're at right now. We talked about the fact that we're in pretty good shape when it comes to revenues over expenditures this year. But there were some discussions about some different changes and modifications between first reading and second reading. And those are the things I want to focus on with the board tonight, on what we have changed from what you saw 2 weeks ago. In front of you and on your screen, some of the major items, the bigger items, was a decrease in health insurance costs. We did see a substantial decrease in our with BB&T working with us and working with Blue Cross Blue Shield to get our health insurance costs down. And then there was then a increase. We've added the sustainability coordinator position that was discussed at last meeting. We've also added the 2 equipment operator salaries. We had all the benefits in the budget 2 weeks ago. We just didn't have the salaries in there. So overall, between first reading and second reading, there's a total adjustment of $29,171 added to the budget from last time. If you look at overall, your ending fund balance is still $5.1 million.